The year is 2021. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate had just wrapped up its DLC with the Big Shoe Key guy. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl had released and existed. Rivals of Aether was thriving and was going to add 4 workshop characters to the base cast of the game, something that most base cast players were gonna hate. And SK Harrison was still trash at all of them. Aw, it's alright, at least I can drown my sorrows away while watching Phase 4 of the MCU! But out of nowhere, a leak had been released. A leak for a crossover WB fighting game. It was gonna be called Multiversus. It features such characters as Batman, Bugs Bunny, the Rickster, Gandalf. Who is that? Now when I first saw this leak, my immediate response was,
yeah, that makes sense.
WB owns a ton of properties. Chances are, if it's not owned by them, it's probably owned by the mouse. And around the time the leak came out, guess what movie was coming out? That's right, the 10 Oscar award winning Space Jam 2.
The Goon Squad!
And would you look at that, most of that movie was WB jingling keys. So yeah, of course it made sense for Warner Bros. To see Smash Bros. And start drooling. So okay, what are they offering? November 18th, 2021. A guy named Tony appears on our screen, is really bold, and tells us that Player First Games are going to be making a title that's about to rock our world. Boom. Multiversus, a platform fighter with a heavy focus on team battles. And can you hear that?
A wolf of House Stark is not afraid.
Didn't know about my dancing powers.
My roommate thinks I have
Something's in my...
Voice actors reprising their roles? Except Steven. Remember, at the time, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl was on dead silent. Those guys were mute, so this was a big deal. They said the game was going to have great online. They said the game was going to have crossplay. They said the game was going to have unique costumes. And to top it all off, the game was going to cost $0 and nothing cents. Oh yeah, get in there Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, rest easy. Along the way, we also got the You're With Me trailer, and this is something that I think Multiversus might even do better than every other platform fighter on the market. Collaborations and character interactions. It wasn't just during the promotional material, it was during the battles, before the battles, after the battles, when they got kills, when they teamed together. It was so cool. You just don't get this kind of character interaction in other platform fighters. Don't believe me? Brawlhalla, you only really get in the trailers, and it's super minor. Rivals of Aether, only really get in the trailers and story mode, but not every character's in that. Super Smash Bros? Brother, check the calendar, it ain't 2008 no more. The only real interactions you'll get that are similar to Multiversus in Smash are stuff like same series characters beating each other. For example, Wolf has something to say when he beats Fox.
Really time to waste on Fox.
And then there's the Snake Codec calls and Palutena's guidance. Both of these are absolutely fantastic. Problem with both. The Codec calls do not go past Brawl, and Palutena's guidance does not go past DLC. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl? Okay. To be fair, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl did add voice lines in a later patch. But those were not interactions. Those were just iconic lines. Debatably. But bro, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale had more interactions than this. What the hell?
Pick that up and pay for it. Let me up my door!
This is also the trailer where they revealed the Iron Giant. Insane that they saw that Smash added Ridley and Player First Games just said, that's not accurate size, watch this. Now when I first saw him, I figured, surely, for how big he is, he's just gonna become combo fodder. Surely he's gonna be low tier. Surely he's not gonna be a problem. Try being so much of a problem that he was temporarily removed from the game. Platform fighters have taught me a valuable lesson. Moral of the story, if they look friendly, call the police. Okay, we've seen the gameplay, we've seen the trailers, and I've seen enough. I am tired of watching Apology Man and Dry Ineffective play the game. Get the open beta out right now. July 19th finally rolls around, and it's time to talk about the open beta. And since this is when most people got their hands on the game, this is where I'm going to talk about the gameplay. Now, if you play Smash Bros, a lot of that information will help you, you're just gonna have to retune it. Defense in this game mainly relies on your movement and your dodging. In a lot of other platform fighters, recovering back to stage can feel like a whole different part of the gameplay. In Multiversus, it's probably the easiest thing to do in the game. You get multiple jumps at the wall, a baby could do it. Most of your offense is going to be throwing out stuff and guessing dodges, because there are no shields, which also means there are no grabs. Forward strong and jab sort of slips places, and you get specials, but some are different in the air. But other than that, Multiversus is pretty similar to a lot of other platform fighters, so go win a tournament or something. Is what I would tell myself if I liked the defense in the game. I just don't like that the only thing stopping you from getting hit are pressing the dodge button or hoping that it missed. It's the reason I stayed casual for this game and didn't go into the competitive scene. It's also because Each character is separated into 5 different groups: tank, bruiser, assassin, mage/range, or support. Tanks are really slow, but pack a punch, and can take some too, with stuff like Superman's armored moves or Wonder Woman's bracelets. Bruisers are your typical fighter. They're gonna go in, and they're not gonna stop. For characters like Batman, all they need is a pair of fists and a dream. They will usually be the simpler character to understand and pick up, whereas the assassin is usually the harder fighter to learn. Oh, and another thing assassins share? Controller throwing gameplay. Mages are your zoner characters, which also means controller throwing gameplay. And supports are characters that work best in team battles, using their abilities to help their partner and protect them in any way they can. Don't worry about this type though. After the open beta, support characters?
Sorry.
Another thing Multiversus did pretty well was the movesets. A lot of them are pretty solid and true to the character. A nice mix of understandable moves that they would do and pointed to screen reference material. Except for Shaggy, if that's who you really are. They decided to make his moveset based on the Ultra Instinct Shaggy memes, which at the time was pretty funny, but in hindsight, this was a bad call. Besides his goofy run and the sandwich throw, he doesn't really do anything that makes me think he's Shaggy from the show. A big reason I think they did this is because they wanted Shaggy to be the Shoto of the game. A projectile, a forward launching move, and a rising anti-air. But a bit more source material stuff would have been nice. Now thinking about it, I think a lot of the more goofy stuff might have been saved for Scooby, but... But back to the gameplay. How is teaming in Multiversus? After all, it's the main focus. Well, it's fun. Teaming with your friends is gonna be a blast like in most platform fighters, and teaming with random strangers online can go, well as you can expect. But I liked how a lot of these moves worked in this team setting, stuff like Batman's smoke, Garnet's music, Steven's shield, or riding the Iron Giant.
Repeat that?
The game was quick, albeit a bit janky. Either you loved it and played it casually or competitively, or you hated it and dropped it in the week. My main was Wonder Woman because she was one of the only characters that came for free. Imagine if player first games just made all the characters free and focus on cosmetics for money. That'd be silly.
Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
She was fun though, especially her lasso pulling in people and the great range she had with her sword. She was pretty good in the open beta, but it seems sticking with her was justified because when the relaunch happened, she was broken. Yeah, that's right. It's a good day to love Wonder Woman. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk perks. The game allows you to buy perks in order to improve your character's stats, be it in movement, attacking, or just random stuff like giving them an extra platform or more jumps. Hell, there was even some character specific ones which were actually pretty interesting. That all being said, I did not care for these.
We do not care.
It's one thing if perks were just for a separate mode in the game, but to put them on online and look at all the options you can get, I just wasn't about that. I just wanted to play the game raw. That and these scream Street Fighter Cross Tekken gems, but to be fair, those were way worse. Pre-order and DLC gems? What the hell? I'll have you know, things like the Buzz Spirit were free of charge. But perks weren't the only things you could buy. You had 2 currencies you can earn. Gleamium, which was for costumes, and the gold, which was for everything else. Kinda made it hard to use these to get perks considering I'm using the gold to build my roster. Thankfully, they fixed this in the relaunch. Sure hope it's not worse. In terms of other modes, we we could look at Wonder Woman some more. They did add an arcade mode later, but this is the most mode in the game. But hey, it's only the open beta. I'm sure when the full game comes out, those modes are gonna slap. The stages were pretty cool, but I remember a lot of people not liking the music on them though. My music taste has started wars, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. I didn't hate it. They went for this orchestral theme park type remixes for iconic songs from different series, which, I mean, it works. It's no Third Strike banger or Guilty Gear bop, but hey, I've heard worse. Eventually, we would start getting more characters for the game, and let's be real, we can save these guys for later. Let's start with the King! This is one of the most silliest additions they could have made to the game, and I love it. You have all these iconic WB characters, and then just LeBron James from real life. On the website, it used to give info for the characters like their hometown or their first appearance. LeBron's is just Ohio 1984. Like, that's amazing! And you wanna know the best part? He's actually fun. He's able to throw the basketball in multiple ways and combo it into himself by catching it again. It's so good. And when he loses the basketball, he gets different moves like this fence one and this court style, floor sender jutsu. Some people like to hate on this pick, which, fair, it is just a real dude. Movie version real dude, but real dude nonetheless. But come on. You're telling me if Kai Cenat got the next Injustice with a room exploding super, people wouldn't erupt in fury as their money mysteriously disappears? Then again, I just remember what SNK did in City of the Wolves. That's a monkey's paw statement, I'm sure they'll love. But LeBron was a cool character, and he brought a lot of eyes to the game. After this, we would get characters such as Gizmo, Stripe, Rick and Morty, Marvin the Martian, and Black Adam. Okay, look, I get Gizmo. Gremlins is a popular movie, timeless classic, it can get a character. And I guess the crew loved Gremlins so much, we needed another one. Okay, Grandpa. Marvin the Martian, iconic Looney Tune, I'm sure Daffy's next. And Rick and Morty, popular TV show, big brain plays, was good until season 4, incest baby, whatever. Black Adam did not need to be in this game. Who invited you? This was around the time when the hierarchy of power in the DCEU was about to change.
No, you ain't!
So we got a ton of promotional stuff, trailers at gaming events, Fortnite stuff, comic events, and yes, Multiversus. Is he fun? Yeah, he's a great time, but they could have added my earwax to the game, I'm sure that would have been fun too. That being said, the fact this dude got into this game over tons of other DC characters just for his movie to be average makes his inclusion even funnier than the NBA guy. But around this point in the game's life, I drifted away from it. Online was getting worse, the grind was getting old, other stuff piqued my interest, and I'm not dumping all that money to get all the characters. That doesn't work for me, brother! So yeah, I had my fun, but I was done for now. And apparently so was Multiversus. March 27, 2023. Tony's head is shinier than ever, but that doesn't distract from the fact that Multiversus is shutting down the open beta and going to be relaunching with a full release next year. What? Okay, let's look at the good side first. Multiversus did have its problems, and shutting it down for a massive overhaul could do very good. And that's it, time for the bad. People spent money on this game. There was a battle pass. There was a founders pack. And now they just can't use anything online? Great, yeah, cool. I want to remind you, this game won the Game Award for Best Fighting Game in 2022. And I'm sorry, before we even talk about the fact that they won, can we talk about the list of nominees for 2022? This was ass! Let's start with DNF Duel. I loved this game. Hitman was my boy. This game had no chance of winning. It was dead. Best fighting game going to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R? Yeah, sure, until you jumped online. And what is Shifu doing here? You're not part of the team! Multiversus had the best chance of winning, even though it's still an open beta, so you could argue if it should even be there at all. Only game that even came close to beating it was KOF 15. And I loved KOF 15. I spent more time on that game than I ever thought I would. But I mean, come on. It just didn't have the boom Multiversus did. There was just no way it was winning. Then again, KOF 15 did have Terry. Yeah, we were robbed. And hey, despite everything that I've said about all these games on this list, at least you can still play all of them. They had the hope that the open beta was so good that players were craving, itching for more multiverses. Well, if you weren't a multiverses addict before, maybe the hype for the re-release will make you become one. Are you ready? March 11, 2024. Tony sits in a chair and guess what? It's still bald. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! Yeah, I already made a video about this presentation, so to sum it up, this was a nothing burger with a side of air. A majority of the things they said they added, we just had to thumbs up and hope for the best. Like for example, they said, we fixed the online. Okay, I guess I'll believe you. They said a lot, but it didn't feel worthy of the year-long wait. And after this video dropped, all they told us to do was get hyped, go eat McDonald's, watch hockey. This was looking like a very Resident Sleeper return until we got the reveals of Joker, Agent Smith, Jason Voorhees, and... Okay. Very funny, guys. Log back in. Joker felt like a long time coming, which is crazy to say. This is like if they added Bowser Jr. and Peachette before Bowser. But he's a fun character, and Mark Hamill voices him, so that's always nice. Banana Guard. Yeah, personally back then, I didn't care about this character, but now hindsight's kicking in, and I'm realizing this was just wrong place, wrong time, man. I get this was a quick project, and the team really wanted him in, but we needed heavy hitters for the relaunch, and he ain't swinging. So I'm not upset that it happened, I'm upset when it did. Oh yeah, here we go. If any character revealed during this relaunch period got me to play the game again, it was Jason. I've only seen a few of the Friday the 13th movies, but even then, he's such a cool character. And he actually felt like a genuine surprise I didn't expect to get in this game, at least not this early. They did a solid job on this moveset as well, right amount of unga bunga and some cool references too, like the sleeping bag and the bed. Another detail I like is how cartoonishly big he is. Like, he is ginormous. Early leaked versions of him had him looking way too tall for my liking, but in the final version, he shrunk down a bit, but just wider, and I love this a lot more. Agent Smith is neat. He can shoot children. Everything was looking good, brand new characters look solid. What can we do to ruin this? I know, let's add Jason to the Battle Pass. Yay! Now, to be fair, two things to say about this. Number one, Jason is in the Battle Pass, but everyone who played the open beta gets the premium Battle Pass for free, which was a nice incentive. This would not be how it is forever though. But number two, even if you didn't have the premium Battle Pass, the characters that show up in the Battle Pass would later show up in the fighter shop and you can buy them with the fighter currency. That all being said, this is some Overwatch 2 BS. You cannot add characters to the Battle Pass. People don't like that. It's a greedy tactic. I know, right? Warner Bros. Is a greedy company? More news at 11. Okay, so a lot of these decisions are very hit and miss. But maybe the gameplay's... Wow. That's ass. I understand why they made the gameplay slower. Make moves clearer and help out the online. I get it. But man, you took it way too far. You had that lever from Melee and you switched it over to Brawl, when it should have been from Melee to Smash 4 at least. Another new thing about this new version of Multiversus is the Rifts mode. Pretty much throughout the season you would get these events and you had to play through matches to get to the end. There would be different paths you could take and multiple different wacky scenarios that would happen as well, such as different match types or multiverse threatening games of volleyball. The most I can say about this mode is it was neat for a while. The interactions are just text, but they seem to be laying out a story of some sort, such as the fact that Raindog was the one who brought all the characters together, and that he had this crystal, and Joker was the one who stole this crystal and brought in Jason Voorhees? Like, don't get me wrong, that's my guy, but was Voldemort busy? I lost track of the plot after the second season, but would it all end with Condiment King and Golem at the end of the multiverse? Who knows? My guess it was probably going to end with some player first games OC like Raindog or Walter White. They fixed the currency problem, now giving us 4 currencies in the game: Perk, Fighter, Prestige, and Gleamium. Perk currency lets you buy perks, you can get it throughout the game, I don't care. Fighter currency lets you buy fighters. Fine in concept, but this currency took forever to get. Oh, but of course it would. Why grind for the fighter when your wallet's sitting right over there and your money looks very delicious? But after a while, risks get repetitive and online will only hold you for so long depending on who you are. Especially if you're really just playing a character just so you could get another character that you really want. And I hated the excuse of, oh, just get the characters you want. Like, yeah, sure, that will work for competitive people and people that have mains, but not everyone has a main. Some people are casual and just like to play everybody. For example, Marvel Rivals. Magic, Thing, and Invisible Woman are my go-tos. But sometimes you just want to play wacky and get 0 and 5 as Spider-Man, and that's okay. So you already limited the amount of characters we get at the start. And if you're playing a character that you don't really want to play just so you can get a character that you really want to play, but the gameplay isn't hitting and the grind is tedious, then why are they gonna bother? Prestige currency is given to you when you get cosmetics, so you can get even cooler cosmetics, like the Batman Who Laughs, if you're into that. And Gleamium's still here, but it's much easier to get. Overall, Season 1 was okay, but that's a little worrying considering this is the full release, and you got a year to work on this after the open beta, which some people are arguing was better. But hey, that's what updates are for, so let's check out those later seasons. Season 2 begins and Samurai Jack shows up. Once again, they're pulling me back in. Jack was one of the characters I really wanted, since I remember when I was younger watching Samurai Jack on Boomerang. Simpler times. He is a bruiser, so his moveset's very simple, but hitting people with that sword feels so good. He has this focus ability he can charge up, which he can use for specials, and they add this meditation where if you crouch, he'll meditate and get gray health, aka allows you to get slapped and live a bit longer. They also added Beetlejuice, the only time I'm gonna say his name. His second movie was coming out, so he got added a bit earlier than he probably would've. But hey, people actually wanted him. His moveset's goofy and he has fun interactions. Good addition. Season 3 added the Powerpuff Girls, at long last. I remember there were a lot of theories on how the Powerpuff Girls were gonna work in a platform fighter. Similar to Jack, their only appearance in a platform fighter before this was Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion, and in that game they were all 3 separate characters, but I doubted they were gonna do that. So how would it work? Would it be like Pokemon Trainer, where you swap between the 3? Would it be like TMNT and Injustice, where they come in and help each other? Maybe it would be like Ice Climbers, where they all fight together at the same time. Turns out, it's all of the above. Not only do they fight at the same time, not only can they help each other in team attacks, but you can swap between them and get different moves. Blossom got her Ice Breath, heavily nerfed in this game, sad day. Bubbles got her Scream, and Buttercup got her Laser Eyes. Season 3 also added... Dog, what are we doing? This is Nubia. She is the queen of the mascara. She's also a literal who. But to be fair, most Wonder Woman characters are. Now look, I have no problem with letting nicher characters get some time in the spotlight. Again, let's compare it to Marvel Rivals. Squirrel Girl and Jeff the Shark. These two are way more popular than they've ever been thanks to their inclusion. I have not seen this many people get this feral about Squirrel Girl in my life. I don't blame them. Again, Marvel Rivals has tons of other characters, and they're all free, and these two were added during the game's starting life, not on the game's deathbed. This character could have been added around Season 10. Why are you adding her now? Before Flash and Green Lantern? Really? And when we finally get another Justice League member, it's Aquaman, and the game's life support's ending. Man, who am I kidding? The Green Lantern movie is still hurting the series to this day, and Flash was on wash thanks to the movie. I hate it here. But again, she's not a bad character. The problem is when she was added. People have lost some trust and interest after the open beta. To bring them back, you needed banger after banger after banger after banger newcomer. And yeah, we're getting some bangers, but then you give me characters that I'm scratching my head on. But hey, at least we got a Gremlin stage, thanks Grandpa. Around this time, they also decided to add a shield to the gameplay. Now look, adding new mechanics to a fighting game in the later seasons is nothing new. But this wasn't it, Chief. They didn't add a visual on the shield to show when it's breaking like in Rivals of Ether 2 or Smash Bros, so it just doesn't feel right. And putting up and down the shield just doesn't feel right in gameplay. It kills the entire flow of the match. Some people don't even use it. Man, Goth Women save us! Season 4, Marceline and Raven. Marceline is just a very popular character in Adventure Time. This was bound to happen. She has a nice mix of guitar moves and her beast bat form. As for Raven, they decided to go for their own take on her design. Good. I would not want to be on Twitter if this thing got revealed. But I like the look, especially her hair. The coolest part about her gameplay is the Raven she can send out. It acts as a stage control. She can travel to it, create a damage line, or it will just do damage on its own. Another thing they added this season was the Fighter's Road. This was their answer for people whining about the grind. So as you play or go for the Battle Pass, you'll earn Fighter Road XP. This will be used to unlock a character one at a time in this certain order. I mean, this is still a grind, but it's now streamlined. Still sucks though. Then there's Arena Mode. You and a buddy earn some money and you're able to use it to get upgrades. You then go into a team battle and lose or gain points depending on how you did. It's an interesting mode, but I only got to play it a couple of times because the wait period to get into one takes forever. Was this because SK Harrison jumped in on the mode too late, or because nobody was playing the game? You decide. Unfortunately, the numbers just weren't there. The game struggled to hit even more than 1K players at times, and when you're messing with WB, the company that just got hit with the Kill the Justice League bomb, you know the plug looked mighty enticing. So, you know how this story goes. January 31st, 2025. Multiversus says that Season 5 is the last one, announcing that it will go offline May 30th. I could say I was surprised. I could also say I'm outside your house. Would you believe me? The writing was on the wall, man. I wanted them to turn it around, but this new version of the game was supposed to be the turnaround. And knowing WB, I'm shocked they made it to Season 5. So okay, Season 5 is the last season. Who are the final two newcomers that Multiversus will be adding? The talking fish guy and the baddie bunny. Yippee! What hurts more than these character picks is the fact that the movement in the game actually improved. And it's actually good! Yo, what is that dog again now? I spent most of my time with Aquaman, and he's a pretty decent tank character. He has solid range, and he uses his fishy friends for some of his combat. Some of it requiring a cooldown. Sometimes his range can feel inconsistent at times, and he's a tank character, so his moves will take longer than a Persona game, but hey, he's fun. Lola is a rushdown bruiser that uses her kicks and bowling abilities to do damage. She's also a fun character, but man, her before Daffy is crazy work. And guys, if you wanted another baller, Jordan was right there. Oh, don't start booing, cause you're telling me a fighting game where you can have LeBron James versus Michael Jordan wouldn't have wallets busting? But, that's it. Multiversus is done. And wasted potential does not even begin to describe it. Multiversus had the entire WB collection to pick from, and it had the platform fighting game community. Not only that, but it looked promising. Had the game kept the momentum it had or something close to it, we could have seen tons of amazing characters, awesome costumes, and fantastic modes. Hell, it could have finally filled the void that Evo Nintendo left so long ago. But the cracks started to show late into the open beta, and while some of them got patched, new ones started to form after the re-release. I believe a good amount of them came from a certain company. I'll give you a hint, it rhymes with Homer Toes. From the full release movement, to the greedy nature, to the weird character picks, to the fact people already felt fooled before, people just didn't stick around. Now don't get it twisted, I loved Multiversus during the open beta, and I do like aspects of the full release. I love a lot of the movesets in the game, and I feel a lot of them are very true to the characters. I love that you can practice characters that you don't own. I feel every fighting game with DLC needs this. I think Rifts had some really fun ideas. I loved a lot of the character interactions in this game, and it was what I anticipated the most with every newcomer. I liked that a lot of the characters sported costume themes, like the Matrix costumes, or the Jason Max costumes, or the Trigon costumes, or the beach costumes. In the end, I feel the two things that killed Multiversus the most was the shutdown and the greed. If you just make a game fun and just have cosmetics that don't affect the gameplay and people like the game that much, they will buy the things for them. You don't have to use greedy tactics like grinding for crumbs. In fact, you might get more people playing if you didn't. Rivals But Marvel and Rivals But of Ether 2 understood that they could use free characters as a selling point because they trusted their gameplay to bring in the people, and then the cosmetics and the outside stuff would bring in the moolah. Please use the creator code SKHarrison in Rivals of Ether 2. And here's just something I never understood. Why would I care about costumes for characters I don't own? Speaking of characters I don't own, let's talk about the characters that aren't in the game. Now, I am going to be talking about some leaked stuff from Multiversus. If WB snipes me, I went down fighting. Gumball, the Wicked Witch, Emmett, Daffy, and even 11 Stranger Things. That's right, Netflix owned 11 Stranger Things were said to possibly be getting in the game, with the Wicked Witch already having clues she was getting in, and voice lines, and a model. I have no doubt that she was most likely going to be in Season 6. She already has a model, she already has voice lines, her broom was in the water tower, which had hints at other characters we would get in later seasons, and to top it all off is WB. They love adding characters to promote movies. Black Adam was added for Black Adam, LeBron was added for Space Jam, Beetlejuice was added for his movie, and would you look at that? And hey, I know it's been 30 minutes, but do you remember when I said that Gandalf was in the leaked roster for Multiversus? Ever wonder what happened to him? My guess, the rights battle was like boxing with God. There was also Pickle Rick that I don't know if it was supposed to be a costume or its own character, but that's not the important part. It's who Pickle Rick leaked in his voice lines. Ruby Rose from Ruby. This one stung the most for me. As a guilty pleasure enjoyer of Ruby, it would have been so good if she got in the game. And what hurt even more was just before this got leaked, Rooster Teeth just got taken out back by WB. And while yeah, Rooster Teeth is back and Ruby's now owned by Viz Media, it's a little too late for her to get in the game. But hey, if you're a Ruby fan like me and you're dying for her to be in a platform fighter, she is on Rivals of Ether Workshop, so hey, come back from that cliff. Characters like King Kong, Scorpion or Sub-Zero, Dexter, Pennywise, Darkseid, Harry Potter or Hermione, Ben 10, all could have got in. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Oh yeah, and one more nail in the coffin for Multiversus. Player First Games gets shut down by WB. You want to dance on the grave too? Look, the game wasn't the best, but I don't think the company deserved to die for it. Multiversus may have lived a short live service life, but I hope this doesn't persuade companies to not take a crack at a platform fighter. It's a genre that still has a lot of potential for creativity and innovation. There's still so much you can do with this formula. And hey, if you were a fan of Multiversus, it's not gone for long. Fans are trying to keep it up and running with Multiversus Infinite. I think the biggest thing we can take away from this Multiversus experience is that Warner Bros. Is bad. Boo that company! Boo! Boo! The video has ceased. Thanks for watch. 对，人找得走。